leadership where the magic begins to happen, and that's when you're a production-based leader. You feel what I'm saying? Some people follow you and listen to you because you have a position. Some people follow you and listen to you because they actually like you. But what happens when they no longer like you? Wow. They go find somebody and follow somebody that they actually like. And then you have the level of leadership where the magic begins to happen, and this is at the production level of leadership. When somebody can become a production-based leader, people gonna follow you, people gonna listen to you, but you also gonna be able to develop people that know how to produce.
Get to the cake. I'm on a mission for maze, no matter how long it's gonna take. I could just see it already. Give me that new Benz or the Wraith. Watching my own back where I'm from, it was never safe. Yeah. Need 100 M's up in the safe. Last chance, life a movie. Roll another one and get baked. Mix the honor wealth with the Gucci. Yeah, you know when I get up in it. I promise you gon' catch feelings. All you gotta do is hold it down. I told you I'ma kill his niggas. They telling me to be humble.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Between the Lines podcast. Keith Elliott here, your host. If you're tuning in for the first time or you're a returning viewer, please go back and watch the entire season 1. Go watch previous episodes. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you can listen to a podcast, right? So first and foremost, today we have an amazing guest, my brother Riyahd. First and foremost, I just want to say I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to hop on the show. And for those of you that's tuning in, I just want to let you guys know that this is going to be a conversation where you're going to learn a lot about just how to keep the faith, how to pivot, how to persevere, but ultimately how to navigate, you know, through entrepreneurship, right? You know, especially in a time like today, there's like this entrepreneur, you know, era that we're in right now, right? Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Nobody wants to work a 9 to 5. But an individual like Riyahd, you know, he's someone who actually was able to persevere through so many different phases of his life to get to where he is, you know, ultimately in entrepreneurship. And I thought, you know, what better guest to have on the show than somebody that I've honestly seen, you know, put the work in and actually have, you know, the results. So, you know, Riyahd, real quick before we dive into the convo, you know, the interview and things of that. So just go ahead and tell the people a little bit more about, you know, who you are, what you got going on, and we're going to dive right in.
For sure. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on, my brother.
Of course.
Shout out to you. But my name is Riyahd Jones. I just turned 30. I'm an entrepreneur. My entire life growing up, I thought the only thing I could do to create success was playing sports. I didn't know entrepreneurs. I didn't know people that had created success outside of anything but rapping, trapping, and selling drugs. Rapping, trapping, and football or basketball, something like that. So I figured that football would be my way, and I did that for pretty much my whole entire life. And then when football came to a close, I transitioned into entrepreneurship via the industry of network marketing. That's how I got my start in entrepreneurship. So it's been right at 5 years and some change that I've been, 6 years and some change that I've been involved in entrepreneurship. And it's a beautiful industry, bro.
Yeah, and that's dope. And it's kind of similar story, you know, myself as well. I played football, you know, growing up. Well, I started in about 7th grade, but I had hopes of that someday going pro and playing in the league, of course. And like you know, that ultimately didn't work out for me, right? You know, you was able to kind of make it to the collegiate level. I didn't even get that far. I finished in high school. But at that point, you know, I went to school, was just trying to figure out what was it that I wanted to do. Right? Do I want to just continuously try to play football, walk on for a college team? You know, was that my calling? But then there was a moment where it was just like, I just had to figure something else out.
True.
Right? And for you, you know, before we talk about, you know, before we talk about your, you know, your intro to network marketing and entrepreneurship, I kind of want to unpack, you know, a lot of your experience, you know, with sports, right? Because like you say, sports is every little person's dream, right? There might be people that's going to be listening or watching that have hopes of playing sports. And I'm not saying or having this conversation to tell you guys don't chase that dream, but hearing it from this perspective, just be prepared to make that pivot, you know, when necessary. So for you, let's kind of go back to, you know, college. You know, I know you played college at the college level at Tennessee.
Yep.
You know, I believe you was a DB. You played defense, the defensive side of the ball. And then after that, you know, you had an opportunity to, well, I don't want to say opportunity because I watched another interview that you did, and you got a call from the Ravens and another team to actually try to go out there and practice and make a name for yourself. So kind of walk me through that experience of, you know, college sports and you being so excited to actually get that chance in the NFL, but it actually being taken away from you.
Yeah, man.
At that time.
So crazy as it may sound, growing up, my goal wasn't to play in the NFL.
Right.
My goal was to play in the SEC. So growing up, all I thought about was playing at Georgia, Alabama, you know, any school that had an SEC patch on it, because to me, that was the premier, not even just to me, that is the premier level of college football. And if you play at that level and you do particularly well, then you have a better shot at going pro. So my mind growing up, you know, as a kid coming up 10, 12, 14 years old, was like, man, if I can just get to the SEC and ball out there, I increase my chances of playing in the NFL. But the goal wasn't the NFL, it was literally the SEC. You walk in my bedroom, I had SEC stuff all over the crib, different colleges, because that's what I believed was possible for me. So I needed to see it every single day. Absolutely. And so I ultimately got a shot to play at the University of Tennessee by way of Georgia Southern first, and then junior college in Kansas, and then the SEC. So it wasn't high school SEC. It was pivots in between time. And the most interesting part, I'm gonna keep it short because I know we have a lot to talk about, but I committed to the University of Kentucky in high school, right?
Got it. Okay.
Maybe a month or two before signing day, they pulled my offer back. So I no longer had a school to go to because I had been committed to Kentucky for like 7 months.
So people,
they didn't have me on no board. So when they pulled the offer back, the only offer I had was UMass and Massachusetts, Ball State, and Georgia Southern. So where do you think I'm going? Georgia Southern. I'm staying at the crib because I don't do code, you know. And so I played at Georgia Southern, and I started 12 games as a freshman. And the position I had never played before. I had never played cornerback.
So what did you play? You was a receiver?
I was a receiver. Okay. I was a receiver and a quarterback coming up my whole entire life. So when I got to, and I would play around in camps at DB, so people would kind of see I saw I could play it a little bit. And that's what Kentucky offered me as a DB because I played DB at their camp. But got to Georgia Southern, I had never played a position. I started 12 games as a freshman. And I said, dang, if I can do that, I can play in the SEC. And so I left Georgia Southern, a full ride scholarship. I left it with no guarantee that I was going to get another scholarship to go to a JUCO or nothing. It was just, I called my mom. I said, yo, Mom, I left. I'm out. And she was like, what you mean? I'm like, I'm going to figure this stuff out. I know I can play at like a Georgia or Alabama. I just started 12 games as a freshman, a position I never played before. And so it worked out, man. I got a shot to play at a junior college in Kansas with some really great players like Tyreek Hill, who plays with the Miami Dolphins right now. We played on the same team together. We used to go each other in practice every single day. He's the fastest dude I ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Yep, Nick Marshall, I played at Auburn a couple years ago. He was my roommate. So we had a star-studded team. And so Nick ended up going to Auburn, Tyreek went to Oklahoma State, another guy went to Kansas, and then me and another guy ended up coming to Tennessee, going to Tennessee. And that's kind of how I landed at Tennessee, man. And then from there, I ended up tearing my leg up pretty bad. When I came to Tennessee, I was starting, but I ended up tearing my leg up. And when I tore my leg up, this kid named Cam Sutton, who was a freshman, he just went insane, bro. He just went insane.
He took advantage of that opportunity.
He took advantage of the opportunity. He's still one of my good friends today. I just saw him this past summer. But anyway, Cam is now getting millions of dollars with the Detroit Lions. Wow. You know what I mean? He's had a couple contracts. He's running it up. He's doing really well. It's his purpose, and I'm happy for him. But that's kind of what trained, like, the role of football. When I tore my leg up pretty bad, man, it started to just, it was this chain of events, man, that kind of just followed that, man. And I ended up back at Georgia Southern. I ended up back where I started at for my 5th year of school. Crazy. You know, back at Georgia Southern for my 5th year after I graduated from Tennessee. And then leaving Georgia Southern, I finally got, you know, a shot to play in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. But I ended up getting clipped. I got clipped my first day before practice started. You feel what I'm saying? So I never even got to, like, experience life as an NFL player. Right. I got clipped before the first practice. And then the Ravens called me a couple of days later, and they was about to invite me to camp. But before, and matter of fact, they did invite me to camp, but before I could get on my flight, they rescinded the offer back from camp. And so what ended up happening, man, I got into a situation in college that literally changed everything for me. I saw my name on USA Today for the wrong reasons. I saw my name on Sports Illustrated, ESPN for the wrong reasons. It said Riyahd Jones, University of Tennessee athlete accused of sexual assault. Changed my whole life. Changed my life, bro. Being accused of sexual assault at, I think I was like 23 at the time. I was like 22 at the time, I think.
And how was you able to, you know, with having that, you know, experience? You know, there's a lot of situations that kids find themselves in, especially as athletes, right? You know, you go to big schools, you put yourselves in these, you know, certain situations. Obviously, you was falsely accused, but just seeing, you know, these other athletes, these up and coming athletes, and a lot of the things that they're doing, you know, today. Some of them doing, you know, a lot of blasphemous stuff that they shouldn't be doing. What advice could you give people that are, you know, top athletes, in the city, in the States, to kind of just keep their heads, stay focused and kind of, remove themselves from these situations. Again, I don't really know too much of that situation with you, but what can you tell the others to pay attention to so that way they don't end up in these same, situations and they can keep their name, clear?
Man, I think the biggest thing is, bro, it's not even just for people that are athletes, coming up or whatever. I think it just goes for anybody. I think that the biggest reason why we make bad decisions or put ourselves in situations that are unlikely to our future or unfavorable for our future is because, bro, we fail to use the most powerful gift we have, which is our mind.
Ooh.
We never think about the back end of our actions. We never think about everything that follows this action. We just think about the here and now. We think about what's in front of us, but we never see
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong. We see to the corner, but God sees around it. And a lot of times, things don't work out in our favor, or things are more challenging, or how can I put it? Things don't work in our favor, or sometimes things may be harder for it to work out because God is not trying to allow it to work out because we only see that, but He sees that. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, force is man-made, flow is God-made. So anything you have to force, anything that's not just happening, anything that you don't feel positive emotions about, just stay away from it. You know what I mean?
And at that point, what are you thinking, right? How are you feeling when you figure out that you have these headlines? Like, what are your thoughts? Are you thinking no more NFL? Are you thinking it's a wrap for me? What's next? Like, what is the first initial thought?
Jail.
Right.
Jail. Like, I'm thinking the first thing I did was, what's the mandatory minimum for rape? Like 10 years. I would still be in that joint now, I think. Yeah, I would still be until 2025 if I was convicted of that. You know what I mean? And so that's the only thing I thought about was my freedom. Like, a couple minute encounter could have cost me years upon my life. I would never met my wife. I would have my two sons, Keegan and Kobe. Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
That would have changed everything.
And now at that point, so you go from that football journey, you go from the, not getting the opportunity to go to the NFL. So now I think you get to a point of what the hell is next? What is Riyahd gonna do? Because all you know is football. All you know is NFL ain't working out because I already got stripped of the opportunity twice before I even had a chance to prove myself. Yep. So now at this point, I don't even want to say it's doubt, but it's just like I just don't think this is my call.
You gotta be a realist, bro. You gotta be a realist.
At this point, I don't think I'm going to the league. It is what it is. I'm not going to the league. So for you, when did you have that conversation with yourself, like with Riyahd, like, what the hell is next? What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
What's the next ultimate pivot, for me in my life? Because I need to make something work.
Man, it was actually on the flight coming from Detroit. I'm on this flight coming from Detroit, and I'm like, damn, I wasn't even in the facility for 24 hours. I'm already on the flight back to the crib. Like,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
So I'm on this flight back, and it's a very short flight from Detroit to Atlanta, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell am I gonna do now? The only people that I know that are doing anything where they're making any type of money is trappers and athletes. At the time, I didn't know rappers that were making money on a personal level. You feel what I'm saying? Right. So it was people that were selling drugs, people that in my neighborhood, people that I just knew, and it was athletics. I didn't know entrepreneurs. I didn't know people that worked jobs that were happy and were successful. So I'm asking myself, like, damn, what am I gonna do now? And so the first thing I did was I became a personal trainer. I'm like, dang, I like to work out. I'm an athlete. People know me for working out. People know me for being athletic. I can just become a trainer. So the first thing I did was I went and got a storage unit, and I would train people out of the storage unit in Georgia heats. Wow. So we talking about baking in this storage unit. But people were dropping weight so crazy though.
Wow. So the results
were really good. But the problem was it required all of my time. It required all of my energy. It required sweat equity for pennies because I didn't have the brand built. I didn't really understand marketing. I didn't understand pricing. I didn't understand having a solid business model. This was the first thing I did post football. And so, man, I was training people. I forgot what they were paying, but I was training people, and they would pay me up front. But by the time we got to, say, third session, I done spent the money.
Damn.
So we got a whole month left. I'm training for free. I'm training for free. And so I quickly realized that being self-employed was not the way to go. I quickly realized that I didn't have any leverage. I didn't have anybody else that was contributing to my income. I didn't have anybody else that was contributing effort to an end result. It was just me and my time, my energy. So I knew that this wasn't the way. And so on the 4th of July of 2016, I'm in the kitchen. I'm sleeping on the twin size bed at my mom's crib. So I'm in her house, my parents' crib. And I'm walking through the crib. My mom just randomly says, because I'm talking about I need some money. And she was like, you should call your cousin, Brandon. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm calling my cousin Brandon. Unbeknownst to her, he was in network marketing. She thought he just had his own business. But he was in network marketing. He was a part of a credit repair company. And I went to his office. He showed me how to get the 10 grand a month. I said, bro, if half of this is what you're talking about, if half of it can work,
this is it.
I'm in. Half.
That's crazy.
You dig? And so I was sleeping on a twin size bed at the time. This is July 2016. I got started at that company that same month, July 2016. And by the end of July, bro, I was making $1,000 a week in network marketing. A couple weeks later, I was making $1,000 a week.
That's tough. And I want to kind of go back real quick. You said self-employed. I just want to ask this question. Like, what's in your own definition? What's the difference between self-employed and entrepreneur? Because I think there's a significant difference. But some people feel like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm self-employed, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
I think that if you're self-employed, then you kind of fall in the entrepreneurship umbrella. But I think what you're trying to get at is what's really the difference between being self-employed and really being a business owner.
Correct.
Because a business owner, you now have some type of leveraging the efforts of other people. I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts rather than 100% of my own. Because if I don't give 100% of my own effort, I still got 100 people that's giving 1% of their effort, which still equals 100.
Wow.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing about business ownership. It's not just I have this LLC, I have this. It's about having systems, having leverage, so you can step away and then it can still operate. But I think that everybody starts off in entrepreneurship as a self-employed person in their own business. But as you begin to scale up, you can now begin to delegate and utilize the efforts of other people to make your life a little bit more easier.
And when it comes to entrepreneur, now we're going to talk about entrepreneurial stuff, because that's when you start your journey with network marketing, with the credit repair, and you started making feasible income, right? Yeah. You got to a point where it's like, okay, this money is coming in. If I can make this, I know for a fact this is going to be the way. Yeah. So how are you able to kind of stay? I don't want to say stay afloat. That's for lack of better words. How are you able to kind of as the business grows, as the more money you made, how are you able to kind of keep yourself level-headed, if that makes sense? Because you go from leaving college, not necessarily having an opportunity, to now making $1,000 a week or a month or whatever the case may be. How are you able to kind of keep yourself at the forefront, or like stay with the trends, you know what I mean, and stay locked in and not kind of easily lose that focus or get too complacent, too content? What strategies did you have in place to kind of keep you sane, while you was making that money, knowing that it felt good?
I think it's the realization that I knew I hadn't made it yet. Exposure is a beautiful drug. Exposure is a hell of a drug, because once you get exposed to something, it ignites your appetite for more of that thing. You follow what I'm saying? And so I have been exposed to people that were earning $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month, people that were millionaires in that particular company. So me making $1,000 a week, in my mind, is like, that's no bread for real in comparison to what I'm looking at. Right, I was grateful for where I was, but I wasn't satisfied. You follow what I'm saying? So me being exposed to people that were having success, bro, at those levels, it made me keep my head down and just keep working, essentially, because I was like, $1,000 a week is great, but man, there's people making a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And I also realized that I didn't develop the skills yet, bro. Fast success can be the worst success, because it can allow you to create this false sense of like skill or like whatever. Because when you come into something like any type of business or whatever, and you have quick success, you're not developed enough to sustain that success. And that's what people don't talk about. Like, people talk about launching businesses and brands do really well coming out the gate, but...
And you kind of mentioned, like, the not being where you are supposed to be to kind of handle that success. How are you so aware, though? Like, I feel like everybody should be self-aware of where they are in their life and when it comes to businesses. But just kind of hearing your journeys and your experiences, like you have such a calmness when things kind of happen.
Yep.
And it's not easy for everybody else. It's easier said than done. Like, how are you able to kind of keep that awareness, you know, when it's time to, you know, keep striving for more or not getting that complacency? Like, what are some things that you do to kind of always remind yourself, aside from being reminded from other people?
Right.
How are you able to keep Riyahd locked in on the goal at hand?
Yeah. So, man, back then, I didn't know. I was unconsciously competent. I was doing something good. I knew that I was doing something, but I didn't know how or why I was doing something. And I think that's where everybody starts out in their journey. A lot of people, some people, they don't even know they're doing something wrong.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
They're doing something wrong, don't even realize they're doing something wrong. Right? But I think you move to that level of, you may be doing something right, but you don't know how you're getting this result. You don't know how. So the problem with that is when you don't know how you're getting a result, you can't recreate it. And so I think that over time, as somebody begins to create results and have success and have breakthroughs and have milestones that they hit, their sense of awareness goes on to a higher level, because the best way to develop awareness is through experience.
Got it.
You follow what I'm saying? So the more experience somebody has, the more aware that they become.
Love that.
The more books that a person reads, the more aware they become. The more associations and the more they get around certain people, the more aware that they become. So for me, man, I think that just over time, these experiences that I was having as a kid playing sports, man, traveling and always seeing really good talent, and I think the biggest thing, bro, is humility. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say has played a huge factor in my life is humility, because humility allows somebody to understand that I don't have it all yet. There's somebody else that has more that I can learn from. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm in the drawer around other sharp people that I can learn from. That's what humility is all about. And so having that level of humility from a young age, man, going to these camps and seeing people that were like real dogs on the field. I'm like, dang, I got to keep working. Not from a sense of comparison, but more so like, bro, there's things in my game that can get better.
Wow.
You follow what I'm saying? And so when I was making money early in network marketing, it's like, yeah, I'm making $1,000 a week. I'm doing really well, but I don't really know how I'm getting this result.
Word.
I know I'm doing the work, but
it's
just because I can't teach nobody else how to do this. So through time, through experience, I can now understand and learn how I'm getting these results. I got a formula. I got a game plan, a framework on how I'm getting this result. So I can now do it again, number one, but also teach somebody else how to do it.
I love it, bro. I love it. And, you know, now we can kind of dive into, what was your first intro to IM? Like, so you go from the credit repair, making, you know, that decent amount of money. How did you transition into, you know, IM and the other network marketing company that you were a part of?
Yeah, so, man, when I was in my first company, I was on the internet, and I'm trying to figure out who were the people that looked like me that were having success in other companies.
Got it.
Right? And I ended up running across this dude named Chad Thompson, who was like big time networker. And I was like, man, I need to be connected to this dude. And so this is like 2016, so I sent this man an email. I sent bro an email.
Do what you gotta do, yo.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I sent Chad an email, and he invites me to his office like the next day. So I drove from my hometown of Columbus, Georgia, up here to Atlanta. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. Drove up, I hung out with Chad for a day. When I was hanging out with Chad, he gave me this audio tape called Conceive, Believe, and Achieve by David Imonitie.
My God, David.
I listened to this audio every day for a year, bro. Every time I got in my car, kid you not, I played this audio. Because I'm like, dang, I ain't never seen nobody that, because at the time on that audio, I think he said that Dave was like 30 years old at the time he wrote the audio. I'm like, bro, this dude 30 years old, he making this much money?
That's crazy.
He talking about network marketing like this, he breaking down these success principles like this, he talking stuff I ain't never heard of, bro.
That's crazy, dude.
I'm still sleeping on this twin-size bed. I'm laying in the bed.
Just listening.
I'm tuned in, listening to Dave, bro.
Wow.
And so a year after I get this audio tape, I moved to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta like in July, like the end of July, or sometime that summer. I'm only here for a few weeks, and Chad says, hey man, David coming to town, he got a new company starting. I'm talking about, you talking about the David that's on this audio tape you just gave me? Oh, I'm in there.
I know you was like, I'm dead.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. I had a court that same day in Savannah, Georgia. It was like 3 hours away. I didn't go to court.
Shit.
I said, the hell with that court.
Oh shit.
They can just come get me later.
Wow.
I gotta go see this man, bro, because I have been listening to him every day for a year. I ain't just saying that shit, bro. I literally listen to David every day for a year.
That's crazy.
Kid you not, bro. Same
How much does that do for your belief though? Like, we always talk about see it, touch it, and you've been doing this before network marketing. Like you've always been a visualizer. But like, how much does that play in the success that you have? Because you listening to a guy for a year, now you get to meet him. It's like everything just came into fruition. Mm-hmm. Like, how important is that in terms of, and not just in business, just in life, right? Yeah. Seeing what you want, listening to what you want, you know, and just putting good things into your mind, body, and spirit. How important is that to help you get to where you need to get to?
Bro, it's everything. It's everything, bro. It's everything, bro. Like, man, when I would listen to this audio, bro, I'd be sitting up thinking to myself, like, I have never in my life heard somebody teach on what I've already been doing. Because remember, I told you, as a kid, I had the SEC.
All over the place.
All over the crib. I remember my mom came into the house one time. I'm like 11 or 12 years old. Dad went out for the day. They came back in the crib. And I had took all the Sports Illustrated, ESPN magazines. I done plastered tape all over the walls, bro. My mom like, yo, what the hell is this? I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I was visualizing. I was dream building. I was doing this stuff as a kid. So when I hear this audio tape of David, and this is what he's talking about, I'm like, bruh, it's all connecting. I now see how I made it to the SEC when I had all these situations that stopped me. I now see how. It's because I created it in my mind. I wrote it down. I put it all over. I saw it every day. So even when I was unconsciously competent, I was doing something, but I wasn't aware of how I
was doing it.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
David was breaking this stuff down on this audio tape. So I'm like, oh shit, let me just keep playing this. And then when Chad invites me to this meeting, that night I meet David for the first time. And bro, from that point on, he gave me a task. David gave me a task, bro. He said, go sign up 20 people and call me when you do it. Bro, within like 4 days, I had 20 people in. And he knew I was serious. And from that time point, from that standpoint, or from that time frame, he took me under his wing, and I was
history. So now that kind of just dives right into, you know, your journey within, you know, IM and network marketing. So you had, you know, you was in the business and you grew a team of over, I believe, like 5,000. You was making $50,000 per month at one point.
Yep.
And obviously that's come from the mentorship, that come from, you know, just the people that you surrounded yourself with. Obviously hanging around somebody like David or being mentored by somebody like him, you know, you're gonna have that amount of success. But through this type of business, I believe network marketing is completely different than growing any other business, right? Because here you need people. You don't need, you know, it's not about the money they made. You need people. It's not about anything else. So for you, how were you able to grow and sustain a business of 5,000 before things kind of transition? Right. So like, what were your strategies? What were your team building activities? How were you able to grow a team, you know, so rapidly, you know, and I
think the first thing was the fact that I went out there and got results so that people knew that they could trust my leadership, trust me. I think that a lot of people, when they get started, they're so like, they don't understand that, like in network marketing, to make a lot of money, you got to be the one.
Right.
You have to be that boy. You got to be that girl. You have to, like, you have to be them, because when people look at you, when they see you, they're already making up in their mind that they want to follow you and listen to you. So I made sure that I had to go out there and get a result, right? So I just told you, 4 days in, I had already sponsored 20 people in the business.
And that's personally.
That's personally. This is a couple of days of me, bro. That night at the event, the reason why David even told me to go out there and sponsor 20 people, and he believed that I probably could do it, because I brought 15 people with me to a meeting that I wasn't even in yet. I wasn't even in that company yet, bro.
Okay.
But I brought 15 people, bro. 15. You understand?
Okay. I see what you're
So I didn't come to the meeting by myself. So that's a gem right there for somebody in network marketing.
Very smart.
You never show up to a meeting by yourself.
Very smart. Wow.
So I'm like, if David finna be there, I'm finna get 15 people to see the same thing that I'm seeing, which allowed me to sponsor 20 people really quickly. And then that 20 people turned into like 50.
Damn.
So when people thought I was getting results, they said that I can trust this person's leadership. They actually put the work in. So when they say something, I'm gonna listen to them because I had influence. See, there's a level of leadership where the magic begins to happen, and that's when you're a production-based leader. You feel what I'm saying? Some people follow you and listen to you because you have a position. Some people follow you and listen to you because they actually like you. But what happens when they no longer like you? Wow. They go find somebody and follow somebody that they actually like. And then you have the level of leadership where the magic begins to happen, and this is at the production level of leadership. When somebody can become a production-based leader, people gonna follow you, people gonna listen to you, but you also gonna be able to develop people that know how to produce because you produce. You follow what I'm saying? So I focused on producing so that I could have influence. And when I have influence, people will just follow. I don't have to say as much. The right people, if you got 100 people following you in network marketing, it's gonna be maybe 7, maybe 10, right? That actually matter. Everybody matters, but it's a very small amount of people that you need buy-in from. Gotcha. You don't need complete buy-in from the other 90 or 85 or whatever, but you need buy-in from that 10 to 20%, 10 to 15%. You need buy-in from where if you say something, they're gonna listen to you, they're gonna follow you, and so I focused on doing that, and so that helped me get to Chairman 10 within 5 months.
Wow, bro. And how much of that is how much of your craft, how much time did you spend actually working on the craft of being a leader in that company, right? I know it's every day, but for the people, that's watching, some people are going to know you, some people are going to be, whatever the case may be, just in general, right? Every profession, every business has a craft.
Yep.
And of course we can sit here and say, read books, listen to audios, go to events. That's cool. But it's a lot more personal work that you got to do for yourself because you can't keep pouring from an empty cup, right? So how much time did you spend working on yourself personally before you were able to kind of deliver the message and make sure everybody was duplicating the work?
Really good question, man. I spend a lot of time on me. I believe if you build your business, you'll make a living. But if you build yourself, you'll make a fortune. And so I focused on just building me.
Once the cameraman made that face, that made you say some shit.
For real though, I focused on building me, bro. Early it was like I say, the David every day, the Jim Rohns, listen to these audios that was helping my mind grow. But what really took everything to another level is when I started to tap into my spirituality.
Talk about it, sure.
You follow what I'm saying? When I began to realize that it wasn't because of me that I made it to the SEC. It wasn't because of me that I was making $1,000 a week in my first company fairly quickly. It wasn't because of me that I went Chairman 10 in 5 months. God just needed somebody that he could trust to use. He felt like he could trust me with that platform, with that influence over people. And so, but going back to David, I think that everybody in life gets an example or multiple examples of what your life could look like if you follow suit, you do what you're supposed to do, X, Y, Z. And so one of my examples was David. But one of the things that I pulled from David's life was, this dude really be talking this faith stuff.
Nah, real shit.
My man really be talking this belief stuff. But here's what I did. Most people that listen to David, they write down everything that David says, or anybody that's of success, they write down what they say. And they just look at that and they just use that. And I'm like, I hear exactly what David's saying. I believe every word that's coming out of his mouth. But I need to have the conviction that he has about what he's saying. That conviction can only come from Holy Spirit. So let me get in tune to my relationship with God so that I can have the eyes to see his word in the way that David did, to pull out things that could be applicable to your own life, to make your own life better, but it also could apply to the life of somebody else and make their life better. Wow. You follow what I'm saying? Yes. And so because of David, that was my example, that was my template. And I was able to look at his life and just pull things away. And the biggest thing I pulled away was, this man got a real strong relationship with Jesus. I need that. Yeah. I need to figure this out. And so it just led me down this path since 2018, bro, of learning more about who I am, because when you learn more about who you are, or learning more about who God is, because when you learn about who God is, you learn more about yourself. And so that's what allowed me to navigate through like rough seasons, rough waters. And I've always had a relationship with God, but it's just that I got a relationship with God, blah, blah, blah.
But then we practice.
Right, yeah. Went to church growing up, so I believed in Jesus, all that kind of stuff. But when you meet somebody, bro, that has it, and they're telling you how they got it, and they only talk about their faith and belief, it's cool when it comes from them. But when you go figure this stuff out for yourself, it changes everything for you.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm enjoying asking these questions because obviously I've been here and it's like kind of good to give clarity for people that, you know, might want to, you know, do the same things. But when I was in network marketing, one thing I've always preached was how to actually apply the information. Because, you know, you have somebody like David, it's so easy, again, to take these notes, have it all on paper, and say, you know what, let me just do everything that David does. But my philosophy is you can't just take everything that he does and apply it to your life because your life and circumstances are different.
Correct.
So you got to take bits and pieces.
Yep.
So how are you able to kind of, you know, apply the right things when necessary and not just gathering everything and thinking that your life is going to change overnight because you just heard David say all of these things. Right. How did you kind of break that down and know, okay, cool, you know what? It's not about me taking everything that he says, but it's about taking the right things and applying it where necessary for me to be able to grow.
Yeah. I think it goes back to kind of what you were saying about everybody has their own situations and their own like experiences in life. And when you look at your life, it's easy to tell in the areas where you're lacking in or the areas where you kind of missing the mark or whatever the case may be. So when I looked at my life early in network marketing and whatnot, and I looked at the life of David, there were glaring differences, obviously. Not just like the money, all that, like right, it's glaring differences. But I knew that the stuff that he was saying from a business standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, is what allowed him to transcend to these levels that he's been able to reach. So I would find the most practical things that he would talk about, like the stuff that I was kind of already moving in, I could move in it more now because I was no longer unconsciously competent. I was consciously competent. I knew exactly why this stuff was working now. Now I can get intentional about it because intentionality changes your reality. It's not until somebody becomes intentional, bro, intentional in their marriage, intentional in their relationships, intentional in their business, intentional, you're doing everything with intent to get a result. And so when I recognized that the stuff that he was talking, I had already been moving and stuff, I can now be intentional and it creates a bigger fire under it, you know, so.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. And, you know, let's kind of, you know, matriculate, you know, throughout your journey in IM. So you go from making 50,000, I believe it's about 2020, 2021 when things started to obviously make a pivot and, you know, things just started to change in business, which is normal, right? Business changes daily. So you get to a point of where you're here, but at a certain point you start to, you know, things start to change and doodle down. So you go from a business of 5,000 or however many people to about, you know, 100, 200, you know, it just goes down, right? It just drops, right? I was there too. I was a part of it. Like, we all know how that goes. Now, at this point, it's like, I don't want to say panic because, you know, one thing I learned and just see about you is that you're going to figure it out regardless because you just keep your head focused. But at this point, there's some sort of like, what the fuck do I got to do? Like, what's next? How am I about to save this? Because I'm sure at this point, your expenses is probably crazy, right? You got nice crib and all of this now, but your income is slowly but surely going down. And I would assume at this point, that was really your main priority, right? You was getting money from IM. So what were you doing at that point to kind of, again, make the pivot and, you know, figure out what's next to kind of save the business or to say, I got to go ahead and do something else?
Yeah, man. So when I was in college, I gave college football 5 years of my life, right? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, redshirt, senior, 5 years. When I got into network marketing, I told God, 5 years. Give me 5 years. Like, we're going to run it up in them 5. And so when 5 years came, I'm like, dang, I can do another 5. Like, I'm young. I still feel God, love the industry. Like, this is cool. But at the same time, when this 5th year was loading up, this is when the business started to fall down.
Right.
This is when everything started to, like, you know what I mean, get ugly. And so in September of 2021, man, I really felt this tug on my spirit that it was time to hang my jersey up.
Shit.
I swear, I told my wife, I said, man, I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing network marketing anymore. I think it's that time. Because me, bro, I'm so in tune with my spirit,
Absolutely.
bro.
That's important.
I know how to get still and get quiet where I can hear the voice of God. And for the person that's asking, like, oh, because that may sound like spooky, or it may sound like, oh, wow, you know what God's voice sound like? No, it's your voice.
Absolutely.
It's your voice. God sounds like you. It's not an audible voice. It's you. It's the thoughts that don't leave you. That's God, right? And so in my stillness, in my quiet time, bro, I would literally just like feel like this ain't it no more. Because again, I said it earlier, when something is forced, it's man-made. When it flows, it's God-made. Network marketing was no longer flowing for me. You follow what I'm saying? It was no longer flowing for me. My spirit would just feel like I don't even know the word for it, but when I'm doing calls and stuff, like it just didn't feel real anymore. Like I started to feel low-key fake. But I'm a real nigga, bro. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like when shit not feeling real no more.
It's like it's not it.
It's a dub.
It's not it. Yeah.
And so I didn't tell nobody. I didn't make no announcement. I didn't tell my organization. I didn't do no call and say this is my last call. I just faded to the black, bro.
Wow.
And to this day, nobody has ever asked me why I left. To this day.
Wow.
Nobody in my organization has ever said, well, why you leave? Why you stop doing? Nobody.
Wow.
And I think God allowed it to happen for a reason, bro, because like I didn't feel no pressure. I just
So let me ask. I think you kind of get an answer, but why did you leave? Just
5 years, bro.
5 years.
Yeah, the 5 year thing, bro. I think that God was a man of his word.
Yeah.
Like I said, give me 5 years. He gave me 5.
Now let me just kind of thinking on the other end. I think it's just kind of fit to ask. So let's just say it's easy to say the 5 when things are not going well. Right. You know, business not working out. But let's say you making more money. Let's say you get the chairman 100. Right. And the 5 years come.
Yep.
You staying or you leaving the 5?
That's why God never let me get to chairman 100.
I love that shit.
That's why God never let me get to chairman 100, bro. Like, you gotta think, every goal, not every single goal, but when I get super in tune with goals, bro, they happen.
I love it, bro.
They happen. I put the work in, bro. I do what I'm supposed to do, bro, and God does his end of the deal. And when chairman 100, I got so close, bro. Like, I got close as hell to $100,000 a month. And it just slipped through my fingers, and I never got close again, ever.
Wow.
And so I'm like, dang, there gotta be something else that I'm missing here. Network marketing is a really great industry.
Absolutely.
But network marketing keeps you it keeps your influence in a bubble, if you will. The only people that kind of know you essentially are in your company or in network marketing. You're not necessarily known by outside of the industry in terms of like speaking engagements and just all this stuff. You're only known as in this industry, and nothing's wrong with that because you can build a massive brand inside of the industry. But bro, I feel like God wanted me to be
something bigger,
way bigger. Not to say that I'm too big for network marketing because that would be childish. But my influence, I just feel that God wanted to go outside of the confines of network marketing. And there were opportunities that came up for me to join it again, but it never felt right with my spirit.
It makes sense.
So,
and we kind of talk about that. And how is that whole change and that whole phase for your family, right? Because again, you have a wife, you have kids, and you go from making this amount of income to not making the most that you know what I'm saying? So how is that phase for your family? What were some of the conversations that you guys had? How did you guys navigate that period? You know, what was kind of going on in the household, if you don't mind?
Yeah, man, for sure. You know, I'm transparent, bro. So a teacher never gives you a test without first giving you a pop quiz.
Which is very much facts. Absolutely.
Very facts, right?
Very much facts.
So God is the same way. God doesn't just throw you into the fire without first putting you around like a little blaze or something at some point in your life. Like, you have these moments where every trial is preparing you for the next one, right? So when IML started to like become shaky in what that was, like 2021 or something like that,
2020.
we had already experienced what that was like in 2018 before. You follow what I'm saying? But that was the pop quiz in 2018. 2021 was the real test. Because 2018, it was like a little period of like 3 or 4 months where the income ain't coming in, you got bills, all this type of stuff. But 2021, up until really the latter part of 2022, bro, it was tough. You follow what I'm saying? Having your income, I mean, my wife was also making 6 figures in that company. You know what I'm saying? So we were both doing really well. And so to lose it, it sucked. But bro, like, when I kid you not, I never worried. My wife never worried. We never really stressed. It is what it is.
Wow.
There's nothing you can really do about it. You know what I mean? Only thing you can control is your attitude and your activity. And
you control your attitude and activity.
somebody only gets to that place of peace when their spirituality is in tune, bro, because you can hear it clear. You know what I mean? Sometimes, bro, when God wants to do something great in your life, he gotta hide you. He gotta set you apart, bro. He gotta put you into the dark room so that he can like work on you, so he can like refine you and make you better. And a lot of people, they reject the hiding, they reject the wilderness, but these are the most important seasons for your life. Because in that wilderness season, in that dark season of not earning the income that I was once earning, not being on the scene how I was on the scene, not being on the stages how I was on the stages, not just being on the platforms how I was on the platform, bro, like speaking and doing what God's called and commissioned me to do. Bro, he was working on me. You feel what I'm saying? But in that valley moment, bro, that's where Holy came from. That's how I became an actor. Like, all this kind of stuff just came, bro, in me being off the scene of network marketing, because network marketing is a very pulling industry.
It is.
To be the man or the woman in network marketing, bro, you got to be in the field. You got to be traveling. You got to be working. You have to be always be on the go. And so me now, a father of 3, got 2 little ones. I got a 13-year-old son who's in town for the summer. Man, like, bro, sometimes when I be at the crib, I can't even imagine, it just don't, I be like in my mind, like, bro, how did I do all this stuff?
Wow, bro,
like, bro,
shit,
like, cause I didn't realize how much I was away from he was 1 at the time when I was really building. He was on his way to be 1. I was a newborn pretty much. And I'm like, bro, look, I was there a lot, but you just miss, like, damn, like, it's a lot. Cause like, bro, my newborn Kobe, who's about to turn a year old, bro, I've seen him every day since he's been born pretty much. Wow, bro. Like, for real, bro. So it's like, bro, it feels the most beautiful feeling, bro. Like, so, and granted, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta have these times and these seasons where your life is out of balance so you can see the big balance in your bank account. But network marketing is something where if you're gonna do it,
you gotta do that shit. This
is a year-round thing, bro. You missing Christmas time with people. You missing birthdays. Like, man.
Yeah, it's tedious. And it's like, that kind of dives in. Now I want to talk about, your wife a little bit. Experiencing something like that, you got to have a partner that you obviously trust, right?
No doubt.
You got to have somebody who you see eye to eye with. That got to be an end all be all. How important was she, in that phase of your life, right? Because, for people that might be in relationships or married or whatever the case may be, they're going to hear this. And, as men, even if you're married, some men don't feel too comfortable going through challenges like that.
Yeah,
or they don't talk about it or communicate things like that. Because as men, we're prideful sometimes.
Yeah.
But for you, it's easy open communication. Obviously, you have a family and things of that sort. But how important is a woman, for us men when we get to those challenges and having that open communication? Why do we need to open up more when we face these adversities and things of that sort? Because I feel women are imperative in relationships and business. So we got to be very much more open and transparent with certain situations. So how does she kind of help you, through this whole phase?
Yeah, man. I think that real good question, by the way. So, as men, we naturally hold stuff in.
Absolutely. It's just
what I'm saying. We could be going through some shit,
that's what I had to ask you,
and we ain't telling a soul, bro. But
at all,
that hurts us so much.
Absolutely.
It kills us on the inside, because I feel like the key to unlocking things in us requires 2 things: vulnerability and transparency. As a man, when you can become vulnerable and transparent with a female, your wife, somebody who's close to you, your girlfriend, like X, Y, and Z. I heard somebody say that many spouses, relationships, married couples, whatever, they've seen what their partner looks like naked physically, but they've never seen what their partner looks like naked emotionally. Whew. God damn, crazy. We've seen what our partner looks like naked physically, but we've never seen what they look like naked emotionally, because we can be so guarded. Damn. We don't open up, we don't share. And so going through tough seasons, man, the fact that I can just be vulnerable and transparent with my wife about how I feel, it allows me to just release how I'm feeling, bro. So it's not a weight no more, because I never too much worried, I never too much stressed nor complained about what we were experiencing. Right. But I still wanted somebody to talk to about it, and you can't talk to everybody about it. Mm-hmm. So having my wife, bro, to be a shoulder to lean on, somebody to vent to and talk to. I could be her receiver, and she could talk to me, and I could, give her, feedback for what we're going through. But man, at the end of the day, God gave us both language for each other in our season. You follow what I'm saying? Like, he gave me language for her, and he gave her language for me, which helped us navigate through the darkness because we had language.
I love it, bro. That's super dope. And let's talk a little bit about Holy now, bro. So you get through the whole network marketing phase. Now you're building your brand. You talk about having a platform where it's not just very much, it has parameters, but now you're kind of superseding that, because now you're creating an identity for really who you are. You're not just building another business. Correct. You're building your business. Correct. Right? This is your brand. So where did Holy come about? What was the vision for Holy? I know you started off with, I think it was a cannabis type thing. Yep. And then obviously you grew to apparel. Your shoes are doing fabulous right now. And obviously you plan on growing. So how did Holy come into play? And when did you know that was going to be your next investment?
Yeah, man. So like I said, we was in the valley. And I think that God gives vision in the valley, not on the mountaintop. But when you're in the valley, you have to have the discernment and the willingness to hear what he's spitting at you. You follow what I'm saying? And so in my valley seasons, I knew that there was going to be something else that I do that is on a bigger scale than what I did in network marketing. What I did in network marketing was pretty cool, man. But I think that God has so much more for me. And Holy was just like the precipice. It was just the start of it, and it's going to unlock so much more. And so I got this idea to start a brand called Holy, right? And this brand wasn't just a one-off thing where we had one particular item that we would, send to the market. It was going to be like a lifestyle thing where we had a bunch of different things for somebody's day-to-day lifestyle that make them feel good, that make them become more aware of their set-apartness, because that's what holy means, man. Holy means to be set apart. When people hear the word holy, they could think that holy means perfect without blemish, but it's actually the opposite. Only God is perfect. Only God is without blemish. God chose us to be holy through his son, right? Holy means to be set apart by God for purpose. And so it's one thing to be set apart, but it's another thing to know why you're set apart. And I know why I'm set apart. I know why God has chosen me and entrusted me with this stuff that he's given me. And so the brand, it speaks to that. I want to give language to people that feel the same way that I do about, I'm not better than them, but I'm nothing like them. I'm just different. I'm set apart from them. And yeah, man, so that's what holy means. That's kind of how it came about. It came about in my low season. I was on a plane. I was on a flight coming back from speaking at Nate's event. He did an event in January of 2021, or January 2022. I'm on this flight back, and I had already been thinking about I was going to start this cannabis company, but I didn't know what I was going to call it. I didn't know nothing about it. I just knew I was going to start a cannabis company. And on my flight back, I'm waking up from the flight as the wheels are hitting the runway. We landing, and I just heard holy. And I said, damn, that's it. And I was with my camera guy at the time. I said, yo, K Millie, holy. He was like, that's clean. Because it's so short, it's so simple, it's just so powerful. Yeah, and it's so powerful. Yup, and I can give, again, the language and the context behind why that is. And so right now we have the cannabis stuff is kind of hard. I'm about to relaunch it in the next few months or so. But the apparel is about to drop. The shoes are doing really well. We're gonna do holy water, so we're gonna have a water company, production company. It's just a lot coming with it, bro.
Yeah, that's
it's
dope,
a
man.
it's a whole deal, bro, and I'm looking forward to
That's
it.
dope. And real quick before I get into the next thing with you, I wish you kind of had shorts or something on, but your ink, man, I was just moved to ask, like, I'm sure it means something to you.
Yes.
Right? Like, does it story tell? Like, how important is your ink on your body? I know you have some dope work.
Yeah, man. So I started getting tattooed when I was 15 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my first tattoo I got is truly blessed under my arms. And my mom, when I got it, she was pissed. But she was like, oh, it's under your arm, so it's cool. No more tattoos, right? That's what she told me. Well, like 2 days later,
You got more.
I went and
I
hit
did
the
the same
chest.
thing.
I went and hit the chest. I went and hit the chest, right?
Off that shit, yo.
And I would wear a shirt. I never took off my shirt, right? Months. It's been months. My mom ain't never seen my chest, right? And so I'm like, damn, if I got away with that, I might as well go ahead and cover the whole joint. So, bro, I'm like 15, 16. I'm a freshman or a sophomore in high school at the time, bro. I'm inky, bro, like for real. And Wiz Khalifa was one of my biggest influences at the time.
It's over.
So I'm eating my whole body. I don't give you know what I'm saying? So, bro, I had everything that's on my chest now, like up here now, I got this in high school.
Wow.
You follow what I'm saying? And one of my tattoos, and the reason why I brought this up is because I have one tattoo that's a regret. And I got it young. I'm telling you the story for a reason. So when I'm 16, 17 years old, I told you I was committed to play at the University of Kentucky, right? My situation in high school, like my relationship with the coaches and all this kind of stuff, bro, it wasn't favorable for me, right? And so I felt like everything that I had got it out in the mud myself, right? Had got an offer because, bro, like I didn't start in high school. Right. I wasn't a starter. So the fact that I committed to Kentucky, not as a starter in high school,
that's beastie. That's crazy.
Beastie, bro.
That's crazy.
Without no help from the coaches, I just kept going to all these camps. And so my mom, like, I'm self-made. So at 17 years old, I went and got self-made tatted across my stomach. Big as hell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the only tattoo I regret. But anyway, so my whole body's pretty much covered. But the what tells the most story with all of my ink, because a lot of stuff I got when I was younger, so I wasn't really aware I just want to get tatted. Right? I just want to cover my skin up. So, but everything is meaningful. Yeah. But what tells the story is my right leg. So my right leg, I'm still working on it. I'll probably be done with it this year sometime. But it's all faith-based, right? It's all my Bible heroes. I don't call them characters because characters make it sound like they're a movie and they're real people, right? So all my Bible heroes. So my favorite tattoo is on the front of my leg, and it's a picture of David slaying Goliath. And above it says marked, which means anointed. And the reason why that's my favorite tattoo is because outside of Jesus, David is my favorite hero in the Bible, because we can look at the life of David and find so many different parallels to our lives, but we can also look at his life and learn what not to do. We can see why God chose him. Like, he's my favorite character, bro. And when I got that tat, it was more so I'm gonna get this ink and I'm gonna just kind of go another route with the rest of it, just whatever. But then when I'm getting the tat, I'm like, bro, I gotta do all Bible on this leg. And so it's David on the front. I have Moses splitting the Red Sea. I have Jesus picking up Peter out of the water when he walked on water. And all of these things, they're all stories I can go deep about how they affect me, but for time I won't. But then I have Samson on the front of my leg, who had the most strongest man in the Bible, but lost his strength because he's messing with a chick he had no business messing with, Delilah. Also have the hands and feet of Jesus with the nails in them going down the back of my calf. Wow. And I also have an image of a lion, a lamb, and Jesus, or a picture of what people would think Jesus would look like, whatever. All in one. So it's like this mirage of a lion, a lamb, and Jesus all in one picture. So, but yeah, I'm about to finish up. It's going to be all Bible. So this is my favorite work I've had done. Shout out to my boy Cali that's doing this leg for me.
That's super fire. Where are you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you business-wise, spiritually, and mentally? And explain why you give yourself that rating.
Spiritually, I would say I'm like a I'm like an 8.5. I'm pretty high up on spirituality, like in terms of like how I feel, just me being in tune, me being in my word every day. Practical, like when I wake up, bro, the first thing is worship music. I don't listen to nothing else. It's worship music. I hop in the shower, it's meditation. It's worship music, it's meditation, it's prayer. I get out, gratitude. So before I respond to a DM, a phone call, whatever, before anybody gets my voice, God gets me. You follow what I'm saying? Before anybody gets my attention, I give my attention to God first. And so on the spirituality side, I would say I'm like 8.5. Mentally, I'm pretty much in the same place mentally, pretty high up on the charts. And business-wise, I would say I'm about a cool 7 right now. Business is going pretty good. It can be better. Like, holy bro, we did really well. We're doing really well. Like first 6 months.
Yeah, first six.
Did 1,000 orders, man. Congrats, in 6 months, bro. So we did 6 figures, over 100 bands.
Congrats on that.
In 6 months, and now I'm at that place where I'm looking to scale, like more stuff, apparel, because again, bro, it's more for me. It's about creating products that appeal to a person's day-to-day life. So even all the pieces that we're dropping, it's all day-to-day type wear, but it all has subtle details on it for branding purposes, but also, man, subtle stuff on some, you just feel good when you put it on. Like, it's no big branding. It's all subtle, holy, set apart, real good vibes, bro, that people feel good put on the drip.
Dope shit, bro. And before, this is gonna be the last thing. I just kind of want to. I know you spoke a little bit off camera, but you tapped into acting and all that.
Yeah, man.
I see you doing your little stuff on your story, and you tapping into film and all that stuff. So like, walk us through how you got into that. What's your vision with that? Like, are you looking to go big time? Is that like a passion of yours now? How did you kind of get in that space, and what's like we can really look forward to?
So
with that?
God is good, man. I November of last year, I'm sitting on the couch. I get this random DM, and the DM said, "You act, bro." So I said, "You act, bro," with a question mark. I look at the message and I scroll up, or I look up above the message. He had sent me that same message like 3 days prior.
But now at this point, have you ever thought about acting or no?
No.
Okay, no. All right. No acting at all.
Never thought about acting one time in my life.
Got it.
It never was a thought. Interesting is, I love actors. You follow what I'm saying? Like, I love watching a really good actor, bro.
Just the art of acting.
Just the art of acting. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I love watching a good actor. And me and my wife will be watching like Netflix and Hulu or whatever, and like we always be talking about, that's some shitty acting. Like, we'll always be talking trash about crap actors and bigging up really good actors. But it never dawned on me one time in my life you could be an actor, right? So I get this DM. It was like, "Do you act?" I look above it. He sent me the same message twice. I said, "Dang," it was like 3 days prior. I said, "Dang, dude trying to get to me." So I reply, I'm like, "No, but shit, I'm willing to give it a shot."
I'll try it out. Word up.
Right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a try. And so he was like, "Cool, I think you'll be a really good fit for this role." I'm like, "All right, bet." So he sends me over the sides, which is the scripts, to do an audition, like a self-tape audition. So I set my camera up, and I went to my little room or whatever, and I did like this audition, right? And so I'm doing an audition. I look at it, I'm like, all right, I'm just saying, I don't know what the fuck else to do. I'm gonna just send this. Like, I just feel like this might be cool enough. Like, I don't know what he's looking for, because it was only like 5 lines, maybe even 4.
So it was just something.
It was very short, bro. So I think I did it like 3 or 4 times. Looked at it, I said, all right, fuck, let's just send it. If it worked, it worked. If it don't, whatever. I don't care too much anyway. You know what I mean? So I sent it to him. The next day he replies and he was like, "Yo, we need to work on like your delivery, but I think you'll be a good fit. I want to offer you the role for Paul Reese." I'm like, all right, bet. But here's the thing. When he offered me the role, bro, I'm thinking it's like a extra. I'm a side role. Or
it's like a main character. No,
I'm somebody. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm somebody's homie or something like that. So he sends me over the script. I signed the NDA. He sends me over all the episodes. It's 7 episodes. And bro, I'm looking at, so I finally get to episode 3, and it hit me like, yo, this nigga Paul name in the script, man, like he's in here prepare hella. Like, I got a lot of lines in this joint.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dang, I got the lead role. And so I get the script in November, so we didn't start shooting till in May, in May. Mm-hmm. So I had all this time, bro, to prepare for the script. So, bro, I'm, again, going back to how you do anything is how you do everything. Success is palatable. The laws of success are palatable. The same things that are required to be successful in one thing is the same things required to be successful in another thing. The way you use your hands, that's the only different thing. But it's the same law, same thought process. So, one thing I learned from just Bob Proctor, he would always talk about rest in peace to the GOAT. He would always talk about how the subconscious mind work and stuff like that, right? And the repetition and all this type of stuff or whatever. And so when I got my script, all the things that allowed me to be successful in football, network marketing, it was gonna be the same things in acting, right? The only thing in acting was I had to really learn my lines, because if I can learn my lines, then everything else would just kind of take care of itself through personality and all this kind of stuff. But it couldn't be a question if I knew my lines though, right? So, bro, when I got my script, bro, I wrote my lines every day. I wrote my lines every day. I would write down. I didn't write down all the episodes, but anywhere Paul Reese's name was at,
you wrote it down.
Write it down. I'm writing down, but the dialogue between Paul and the person I'm talking to, I'm writing it down. I would do this every day, and then it got to a point where I would record myself. I would record the script on my phone. I'm talking on my phone, recording it, boom, and I would listen to it every day. Wow. In my AirPods every day. Wow. I would walk around her house. My wife like, yo, Riyahd. I can't hear her. What you doing? I'm like, oh, my fucking script. This was every day. And so when we finally get to set, and we're starting to practice our lines, on the second day, one of the camera guys came up to me and said, damn, bro, this your first time acting? I'm like, yeah. He said, shit, I can't tell, bro. You know the hell about your lines. Because, bro, I told myself when I got the role, I said, bro, everything else we can work on, like body language and delivery and all that shit. I gotta know my lines, bro. If I can get that part down, I'm good. And so, I remember Bob Proctor talk about like repetition and how like we could be listening to something, but our mind thinks a thought, and it takes our mind or our attention from what we were reading or what we were listening to. And so he said, in order for something to get down to your subconscious, you got to keep repetitively listening to or writing that thing down or whatever it is. And so I said, fuck it, I'm gonna listen to this. Bro, I still got our voice memos on my phone. Like, I'm gonna listen to them joints, bro. In my car, I'm turning on. I got tired of hearing my voice, but I just kept listening, bro. So when we finally got to set.
So like now at this point, is this like a passion of yours now? Or are you gonna start, looking for other opportunities? Or
yeah, man. So when I finished shooting, right, the very last day of shooting, the director pulled me to the side. He was like, bro, he's like, I've been shooting for a while. You got it. He said, you got it. He was like, the way that you kind of flow with the script, add your personality to it. He said, you got it. So he's like, man, he said, you need to go on these casting sites and like start looking for other roles, getting acting classes, because he was like, man, you can really take it to another level with that whole acting thing. And everything I've done, bro, I've been successful at it. Everything. So I'm like, dang, why not give acting a shot? Why not turn it up and like take it as serious as you can? You feel what I'm saying? So I actually have another audition tomorrow, actually. This is for a movie. So what I just shot was a TV series. It's gonna air in late August. He just sent me some of the stuff that he's editing today. But that's gonna be ready late August. It's gonna air on like Amazon Prime, Tubi, and some more stuff like that. And then I'm auditioning for a actual movie tomorrow. So I hope I get that. That'll be dope. But man, just the craft, bro. The experience of going to do a live audition, that's dope to me. Like, it's a lot. The first audition I did was just me on my camera, whatever. It was no people around. But now I'm going to a live audition. But I'm going to a live audition having shot a whole TV series under my belt, so I understand the language. I understand, you know what I mean, just certain things about filming and shooting. I just got that experience from shooting a TV show. And on top of that, man, my wife was in a TV show. My son was in a TV show. It's dope, bro. And so, I'm very excited, bro, about pursuing acting. You know what I mean? I'm also excited about writing and directing my own stuff.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's the future. And it all came from this one guy sending me this DM, and because I naturally obsess over things that I'm passionate about. When I found out I was gonna get into acting, I obsessed over it, bro. I obsessed over the craft, the directing side of it, just looking at behind the scenes of like major productions, major movies, like, bro, going down a rabbit hole, because anything you want to create success at, you got to be intentional about learning about.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. The whole craft, and so I'm looking forward to it, my dog, for sure.
That's what's up, man. Yo, Riyahd, I mean, you really, you gave us a lot, man. I appreciate you for, opening up, being vulnerable. But I just like giving flowers, man. Again, I've been seeing you for a while, way back in network marketing, man. It's a pleasure to be able to kind of sit down with you and talk to you, business aside, and just get to see the real you, right? Sure. Your drip, your crib, your space. So I appreciate you. Keep doing what you do. I'm forever gonna study you. You teach a lot about, just faith-based stuff. So huge fan, bro. Keep doing your thing. I wish you well in your acting endeavors. And keep doing your thing. But real quick, how can people stay in touch, like your social platforms and things of that sort?
Yes, sir. So you can follow me on all platforms at my name, Riyahd Jones. I'm sure you have it somewhere down in the joint. Follow me on the gram. I have a lot that I'm working on. Writing a book currently. Should be done very soon.
Shout out to that.
And yeah, man, I'm also going to get back into, educating and teaching people about the spiritual side of success and all these different things that have helped me. I think I'll leave with this, but I think it's 4 particular elements that if somebody learn about, get skilled, get educated on, and just understand how these things can change their life, it'll turn them into a high performer in all areas. And the first thing is habits. Having the habits of a high performer, the habits of a champion, the habits of a winner, the habits of a successful person, but also getting rid of bad habits that don't align with where you want to go. Knowing how to replace those habits with better habits. You know what I mean? So just whole deal with habits. And then the second thing is imagination. Going back to what we was talking about earlier, like me as a kid, imagining, seeing these pictures around the crib or around my room and writing all this stuff down and just using my mind, this creative tool to imagine the future, imagine what life could be like in the midst of how life currently is. You follow me? Having the imagination, the ability to imagine, that alone can take somebody from a low vibration to a higher vibration, and it takes them to a place called peace, because you recognize, like, or not even just peace, but also hope. Like, I can hope for something greater than what I'm currently experiencing in front of me.
Absolutely.
And then the third element will be goals. Having something that's worthy of you, because when somebody has a goal, you have to be willing to trade your life for this goal. And so what's the trade-off for the goal? Like, if I get this goal, do I lose this with my family? So is this goal worthy of me? Am I worthy of the goal? And then the last thing will be, we talked about it earlier, which is humility. Knowing that I don't know it all, knowing that God is the ultimate source, and that when I pull down my walls in front of me and just be vulnerable and transparent with the God who knows me, knows all of my flaws, and I can come to him from a place of humility. I can be humble with others, and I can sit under wise counsel, wise leadership, people that have more than me, and I'm willing to ask questions. I'm willing to change to get better. These elements, bro, I think that are what played a huge part of my life, but I also believe that they can help somebody change everything about their life as well. So habits, imagination, goals, and humility. Wow,
took us on, bro. Look, if y'all enjoyed, the episode, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Leave questions, we'll be sure to answer. Make sure y'all tune in. It's gonna be a dope one. Love, appreciate y'all. Peace out.
Gang.
Dope shit, bro.
My boy.
Dope shit. That was cool.
I'm on a mission for maze, no matter how long it's gonna take. I could just see it already. Give me that new Benz or the Wraith. Watching my own back where I'm from, it was never safe.